Corticon makes it easy to create and update complex business rules that are deployed as web services. When a request or test sheet runs, many rules produce messages with information based on that rule. Large sets of rules and rule sheets can produce replies with many messages, but they do not have any identification about which rule produced which message. When you enable rule tracing, each message produced identifies its source rule sheet and rule. That lets rule modelers quickly locate the rule sheet and rules that fired. Here is a demonstration. We'll use the grocery store model in the Corticon Studio tutorial, Advanced Rule Modeling, for this demonstration. This rule flow shows that a request enters into one rule sheet, passes processing to the next one, and then finishes in a third one. In the first rule sheet, our test will have a liquor department item that will fire condition A in column 1. The next rule sheet might fire 5 rules based on the test data. The first 2 rules are non-conditional. They will always fire. As you can see, the second rule statements have variables that will be evaluated when the rule fires and will be generated into a rule message in the reply. The other rule statements in this rule sheet generate messages when their conditions are met. For these, each condition has an action and a message. The third rule sheet determines that the customer is qualified for a cash back and generates a member statement of their benefits. Looking at our rule flow again, we want to run all 3 sheets as a single test. Our test sheet uses that rule flow as its test subject. We run the test. We see the rule messages generated from our test data, but we cannot really track which rule in which rule sheet fired the message. In this basic example, it is not difficult, but imagine a rule flow with dozens of rule sheets, each with dozens of rules. To tell the test to trace rule statements, we edit the BRMS properties file located at the work directory root in a text editor. We locate the property for rule statement metadata near the middle of the file, uncomment it, and then set it to true. This specifies that we want the server's reactor to produce rule statement metadata, data about the data, in rule messages. We save the file. Then we restart Studio to enable the setting. Now, when we run the test, we see that each rule message is preceded by the rule sheet and the rule that generated the message. Let's take a closer look at line 2. It indicates that rule 2 on the coupons rule sheet fired. Let's trace it by looking at that rule sheet again. There it is. It performed just the way we wanted. These messages are very useful to rule modelers during testing. The messages with metadata are not only in the reply message. When logging is set to rule trace, the trace data is logged. This is great help to support teams when they're investigating problems in complex rule sheets and rule flows. This completes our overview of Corticon rule tracing.